yes, my friends, Michael Irvin should file a lawsuit against the NFL. This little bit of footage that I'm about to show you was edited in late. Of course, I got a little bit more information on this case. However, the segment that you're going to see afterwards still stands up, and there's a reason for that. You see, I think that Michael Irvin has been completely done over in this case, not only by the Marriott for not allowing Mr. Irvin to at least see his accuser, but also the NFL for completely disregarding witness statements. And of course, well, as you guys are going to see here real soon, the shadiness of how the Marriott marquee hotels are actually operating in this situation, especially considering the fact that they now suddenly want to change a venue.
Michael Irvin's legal team is accusing Marriott of legal maneuvering to avoid releasing video of the so-called incident that got him sidelined from Super Bowl coverage.
It comes days after a court-ordered deadline for the company to share its evidence. Fox 4's Blake Hansen has more on the new developments today. Blake.
Yes, Stephen, the case has now moved from state to federal court. Irvin's legal team is accusing Marriott of changing venues and preventing the Hall of Famer from clearing his name.
What is it like going against your former?
It was one of the off-the-field stories that made news early on in Super Bowl week. The NFL Network pulled former Cowboys wide receiver Michael Irvin from coverage after a complaint about his behavior at the Renaissance Phoenix downtown hotel. The news first came to light when Irvin discussed it in a radio interview the next day.
I talked to this girl for about a minute. I don't know what, they didn't show it to me. They told me, and I didn't see it. I don't know what she looked like or anything. But that's why they moved me.
Within days, Irvin had filed a defamation lawsuit in Collin County against Marriott. The judge in the case ordered Marriott to turn over video of the incident along with other information by Monday afternoon. But Irvin's legal team says that hasn't happened. His attorney telling Fox 4 they say they were upset about it enough to ban Michael Irvin from the hotel and get him taken off the air. But they won't show him the tape or give him any details about what the allegations are, not who, not what, not when, not even exactly where. However, Marriott did Monday file to move the case to federal court. Irvin's legal team shot back in a court filing Wednesday, writing, the timing of its removal is clearly indicative of its desire to outmaneuver the state court's order rather than provide the requested footage. Irvin's legal team says he's already been forced to cancel appearances. They say he is expected to work the NFL Combine in 2 weeks, but likely won't if Marriott doesn't turn over evidence regarding the allegations against him. I reached out to Marriott for comment but did not hear back. Irvin's legal team is now asking a federal judge to set a new deadline for turning over that video and other evidence. They're asking for that deadline to be set for Friday at 5 p.m.
What's up, guys? John Claymore here. Now, guys, this story right here is roughly about a month old. However, I do think it is relevant and a lot more relevant today, especially given the fact that we have depositions and we obviously have a lawsuit. So Michael Irvin, of course, former player for the Dallas Cowboys, NFL great, first take personality. Been on NFL Network for a while. Pretty funny guy. One of my favorite actual personalities on that actual network, because anytime Michael Irvin shows up, even though he's talking about his Cowboys, which I obviously think him even mentioning the takes that he has are absolutely hilarious, he's still quite a sight to watch, regardless of what he may say or do, because he is that type of guy. He's absolutely hilarious. Especially when he goes back and forth with Stephen A. Smith, or even when he was going back and forth with Steve Smith. You guys can find those on YouTube. I highly advise you guys watch it if you want a good laugh. So a while back, Michael Irvin was in Kansas City, and of course he was at the Marriott Hotel, and a lady he ran into, he basically just said good night to, and of course the very next day he's finding out from the staff, the boss, the people who are employed at the Marriott, that she is accusing him of sexual harassment. There's a problem, though. Michael Irvin has seen the security footage, and he claims that the security footage actually vindicates him. Now, I wanted to wait for some additional info, like I said earlier, before I even talked about this instance, but I want to go ahead and say something right now. The NFL is partnered, or one of their sponsors is the Marriott Hotel. The NFL, not even doing an investigation, also ignoring an actual witness who claimed that Michael Irvin did nothing wrong, they chose to go ahead and take the side of the Marriott Hotel. Well, this right here automatically stinks. And the reason why it stinks is because we're not even bothering to listen to what the accused party has to say. You see, in America, you have the right to face your accuser. The problem is that the accuser never actually came forward. As a matter of fact, her first instinct was to call her employer and not the cops. Now, I understand somebody in the comment section is probably going to say, well, maybe she should reach out to her employer. And the employer, they didn't call the cops. They called the NFL. So the NFL's first instinct was to punish Michael Irvin. No questions asked. Just go ahead and punish him, obviously in the wake of Me Too. Now, gang, what I didn't tell you earlier is that I'm seeing a lot of patterns here that kind of suggest to me that it isn't so much Me Too. It's actually the mere coincidence that a lot of these companies here are starting to, let's just say, they're starting to wise up to all the woke SJW nonsense. They're starting to kind of like wise up to it, all of course except for the NFL. For whatever reason, I do not understand why that is the case. It feels like it's almost like they're slipping into a very, very bad period here where people are starting to figure out that games are rigged, all that type of stuff there. People are starting to figure out that it's not exactly as patriotic as you once thought. And once again, though, they slowly but surely begin to lean more and more and more into wokeness. Now, guys, before we go any further talking about Michael Irvin, I want to take you guys back really quick. Not so much to this incident, but to a video that I released on Friday afternoon. Guys, that video was about Kendrick Perkins and, of course, J.J. Redick, the exchange. Now, obviously, I was a little bit late on that one, but the reason why I was late on that one is because I needed to do a little bit extra research. Now, guys, during that exchange, the very next day, and don't worry, we'll get back to Michael Irvin. I'm just using this as a way to kind of explain what I think is going on here and why it is that Irvin should, in fact, go through with a lawsuit. The thing you have to understand about that situation is that the minute that Kendrick Perkins said what he said, and after he got basically trounced by J.J. Redick on his rhetoric, ESPN sent Molly Karam out the very next day to open First Take by simply saying that we double-checked, the NBA has came out, and they said that our pool of NBA voters are much, much more diverse. Now, bear with me just for a second. The NBA has been trying to get away from the social justice warrior nonsense. They've been trying to get away from it because in 2020, the ratings were down. In 2021, their overall ratings were down again. In 2022, they actually experienced a bit of a stabilization due to the fact that they were not promoting the social justice warrior stuff as much. Me personally, I think it's best if you're going to promote that type of stuff, then maybe you should do it off of work and not on the actual court itself. However, ESPN continues to promote the SJW nonsense. Now, they've been trying to get away from it for a while, but the thing you have to understand is that the ESPN is actually the official partner of the NBA. Now, the NFL, they are, of course, they are on NBC, they are on Fox, they are on ESPN. And, of course, many people also think that the NBA may be trying to slide back to NBC. At one point in time, it was a hell of a thing to see. I would play the opening tunes of that so that way you guys could kind of get a feel of what it was actually like, but I'll probably get a copyright claim and the video would, of course, be blocked. The point that I'm trying to make is that the NFL is doing the exact opposite of what the NBA is doing. It feels to me that the NFL is slipping more and more and more into social justice warriorism and social justice warrior tactics and language. And, of course, that language, of course, is due to the fact that the whole wokeness is mostly coming from the corporations. Marriott's a pretty big hotel company. I have stayed at a Marriott before. They're very, very nice hotels. But if your first instinct when you hear about an incident like this is to call the NFL and not the cops, this is obviously a problem. In the NFL, of course, they bought it hook, line, and sinker. Now, let me throw this out here right now. Michael Irvin's deposition tapes are being released, and of course, you can actually hear what he's saying. He's comparing himself to Emmett Till. Now, me personally, I think that Emmett Till is a little bit of an exaggeration. I want to say that Emmett Till, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description box. I'm kind of sort of just going off the cuff here. Emmett Till was an individual, a black man who was pretty much lynched in the South, accused of raping a white woman or assaulting a white woman, and of course, I'm pretty sure a lot of us know what happened. Of course, this is back in the old days of Jim Crow and back when society was a little bit, let's just say it was a little bit, it was obviously pretty bad. But the thing is this right here. Even though it does sound a little bit hyperbolic, Michael Irvin does, in fact, have an actual gripe here. He wasn't even allowed to face his accuser. He even had witnesses that said that he was nowhere near the woman. Nothing actually happened. And of course, the NFL, they chose to basically suspend him, basically throw him to the curb, and they did not want to support him at all. So instead of just suing the Marriott, I really and truly believe that Michael Irvin should definitely consider a lawsuit against the NFL itself. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what good does this do? The NFL will more than likely settle out of court. Well, the thing is this right here. We are living in a time where a lot of companies, one of them, of course, is Disney, they need a bit of a course correction. They keep on throwing what politics down our throat. They keep on siding with an individual before actually getting an actual story. I understand when the story breaks, you obviously think the worst right away, but obviously investigations need to be had. I mean, I want you to think about something right quick. I think it was 2018. I think it was Donald Trump said that being a man in this day and age was much, much harder because of the possibility of allegations. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about actual predators like, say, Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not talking about those because those guys were obviously pretty freaking evil, and they obviously deserve the punishments that eventually came to them. Epstein, by the way, I don't think killed himself, but still, though, at the same time, though, many men are getting accused of all kinds of crazy stuff by even just looking at a woman nowadays. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of this whole gym craze stuff where girls are recording themselves in the gym and then they turn right back around and say, look at this person who's staring at me. They posted a TikTok, and of course, I've got my own thoughts about that, and I'll probably even do a video on that one day next week, even though I obviously understand that it's not trending at this moment in time. But I have a take that, quite frankly, just may interest you guys. I'm not going to give it right now. Fact of the matter is this right here. The NFL, they jumped too fast to take this individual's side. They didn't even have an actual honest-to-God story. Security camera footage showed that Mr. Irvin was, in fact, not guilty of anything at all. And to go on top of this, there were witnesses there to confirm that Mr. Irvin did not do anything at all. Fact of the matter is that Michael Irvin does, in fact, have a case to say, hey, look, you guys are my boss, you're my employer. You should have stepped up for me. You guys should have obviously investigated. You guys probably should have at least listened to me. So, yes, I would, in fact, sue the NFL to go along with the lawsuit that is currently against the Marriott. I know that clip sounded completely redundant, throwing that extra clip in there, but the fact of the matter is this right here. There is no lonelier feeling in the world than knowing that your employer, the people that you work for, would just, out of the middle of nowhere, just cast you aside like you were absolutely nothing. Side with somebody else without no actual evidence, let alone proof. And just go ahead and take the side of the person who's actually sponsoring you or help sponsoring you, because that right there is what the Marriott Hotel does. They are a sponsor of the NFL. They're one of the many sponsors. You chose the money over your employee who was actually innocent or was, let's at least say that was not guilty in this affair. You should have backed your employee, and you should have at the same time should have at least done some type of mild investigation. Now, maybe it's possible that the NFL is a lot like the platform I'm speaking on now, YouTube. Somebody makes a complaint. Next thing you know, YouTube lays a strike on your channel. Then you've got to go through a whole process. You've got to submit a video. You've got to explain your case. You've got to say, look, there was obviously nothing wrong here. I remember getting a strike a while back on a video that I did going after guys who, quite frankly, spend all day on OnlyFans. Basically, what they did was they gave me a strike because of the thumbnail, even though the thumbnail did not reveal anything, no nudity or nothing. My guess is somebody just placed a complaint in and reported the video, and YouTube decided to give somebody a strike. I hate to tell you this, but people have livelihoods. I mean, Mr. Irvin, I know he's worth millions of dollars, but at the same time, though, I'm pretty sure he wants to continue to make money for other family members, and I'm pretty sure he wants to make sure his kids are well off. I mean, that is what everybody wants to do in this world. I mean, I find it very funny that all these wokesters and all these little socialists, they run out here wanting equal everything, equity, equality of outcome, but yet every time you turn around, they're always trying to destroy somebody else's livelihood. Very, very weird ideology this is. Very special types of people these people are. And before I end this video, I just want you to know right now that, ladies, no way, shape, or form is this a contradiction from anything I have said. I do believe that you ladies need to be armed just in case real, actual predators show up and try to hurt you. I think you need to be armed and ready to defend yourself. As a matter of fact, I'm a very, very big-time advocate for women being very pro-Second Amendment, learning how to shoot, learning how to defend yourself. I'm very, very much pro on that. Obviously, Mr. Irvin, even though he's a very, very big man, is a very, very jovial, very, very happy man. And obviously, he did not do anything in this case. But still, at the same time, though, you should be armed. And also, one more thing that I need to add to end this video. Did you ever think that maybe the whole Me Too thing was just really just, I don't know, maybe people's opportunity to get some form of clout or something like that. I just figure I would throw that out there. Not disregarding the testimony of women who have actually been harmed or hurt. But it's always been my opinion, and you can say I'm wrong for this. But anytime something does happen, I mean like serious, like if somebody actually assaults you, I think you need to speak up about it right away. If you speak up about it right away, and if it's investigated right away, people will then jump to your side and actually probably believe you a little bit faster, rather than waiting years and years and years down the road, and then people begin to think that your story is a little bit off. Guys, that's all I got for you guys on Saturday afternoon. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys share the video. Sound off in the comment section. And, oh, yeah, one more thing, too. SJW's a piss off.